So I thought I'd answer the question, why am I writing a book around dark personalities? Why would I do something like that? I mean, I'm a belonging expert. I talk about belonging. I talk about disability through an intersectionality lens. I am a personality expert, so I talk about how people process information and how they connect with people. So why would I look at dark personalities? Why would I study how people tap into each other? Well, there's a couple of reasons, and I thought I would talk about this a little bit today. I was trying to breathe there a second. So today, well, I think part of the reason is we live in a world where so many people are walking in hate. So many people are living where they're fractured, where they're competing with each other on who is the biggest victim, where we have narratives that are causing more hate, more harm. And if we don't understand the roots of where it comes from, how are we going to pull the weeds out? It's kind of like if you're going your yard and you don't know where the weeds are, you don't know what's killing your tomato plant or your pumpkin patch. As you can tell, I really don't garden. Then how are you going to be able to uproot it? You see, part of the reason I'm also writing this is to help us prevent or work with people before they get to the point where they have to be so dark that they choose to go down these paths. Part of the reason I'm writing this is that people can start looking at where are people connecting and belonging. And if we can catch this. And another reason is to give people the ability to be more vulnerable. If someone were to come up to me and were to say, you know what, you're narcissistic, I would look at them and go, okay, so what can I do about that? How can you help me? And I'm going to tell you, most people who are narcissistic probably aren't going to respond that way. But part of that is because we haven't created a safe place for people to go through. And not only that, we feed negativity. We feed negativity if it will make us more prestigious, or if we're like, oh, this person's so awesome. They have money, they have power, they're good looking, they're whatever. And so it's really to look underneath the surface and take all those layers out so that we can start going and creating a place of healing. You know, I often tell this to people. I've actually talked to women, I've talked about this before, talk to men and women where they'll say, I want a relationship where they put me on a pedestal and I'm like a queen to them. And I look at them and I go, so you want to be God to someone? You know you're going to make a crappy God. You just are. Everybody out there makes a crappy God. You just are. And what you'll do is you'll put yourself in the victim, predator, rescuer triangle. You'll screw it up. And then your relationship is going to have problems when you can't be in that God position. And these are narratives we carry, whether we're men, whether we're women. I've talked to men about this too. How did you build your relationship? Are you in a narrative of rescuing? Did the woman feel like she needed to be rescued? The man feel like he needed to be rescued? Or is the narrative, I wasn't rescued when I was growing up? And part of that can also come from, did I find belonging? Where do those narratives lie? And when we really start to look at this, what happens is we can start to evaluate so we don't make the same mistakes. I'm going to tell you, I don't want to make the same mistakes. I really don't. If I can learn the first time, why not? Why not learn the first time? Or why not learn from other people who have made those mistakes? So I think that's why, it's part of the reasons why I'm writing this book. It's not easy to sit and watch people and listen to people and go, there's a narrative. Oh, this is, and listen to the brokenness. Again, I'm not listening to and saying this person is narcissistic. This person is a sociopath. This person is, what I am listening for is, where did they get broken at? Where's their pain at? Why did they go down this path? What were they believing about themselves and others? How did they get to that point? And this is where real leadership and followership comes in. You see, this may sound really, really weird, but if you are in a relationship, I talk about I talked a little bit about P. Diddy. P. Diddy has been in multiple relationships, and he took the lead role. So that's leadership and followership right there. How many people followed him? So a lot of times in relationships, sometimes there's a leadership role and sometimes there's a followership role. Parenting, there's a leadership role and there's a followership role. So, in most of our lives, there's leadership and followership, and understanding how that works can really impact the choices you make. So on that note, I hope this is helpful. I hope this gives clarity around my intention in writing this book, and I hope that you check it out. I really do. I hope that you look at this and say, oh my gosh, I may have known some people, or I may have struggled, and I want healing, or I want restoration, or I want to help people not to get stuck in this. So my heart in this is really that people can find restoration, find healing and restoration. In fact, that's why I developed the modality of the needs languages, is so that people could find the belonging that they may have not been able to get their whole life, and they get to create it, and they get to heal. But it's always ultimately the person, my choice, your choice. That's ultimately what it is. So on that note, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.